Hello everyone. Let's head on to our first case. Case 1. Am I the bad person for telling my fiance he doesn't have my back when he told a humiliating story about me in front of his entire family? A long time ago, back when low-rise jeans were popular, my boyfriend and I ran into Walmart for some things. I had to get some items on the lower shelf, so I hitched my pants up as high as I could and bent down. I had to grab a few things, and I guess in that time a mother and small son came down the aisle and stood behind me. I guess that kid's face was like 12-inch from my butt crack. Guess the mom noticed and wasn't too happy. Those jeans got thrown out the next day and never bought a pair of low-rise jeans again. It's been 14 years. We were invited over to his sister's family's house for the Super Bowl. We're having a great time, and if a sudden he decides it's a great time to tell that story in front of his entire family and his sister's new husband's family. Not only that, but tells it using descriptives like disgusting and made me look just about as trashy as possible, and then said that I knew it was happening and didn't care and told him to shut up when he told me they were there, which never happened. In the car, he goes, "Are you mad?" I told him that he's demonstrated that he's someone who doesn't have their partner's back. I told him that was a betrayal. BC, he knew that story was embarrassing. He said that BC, he thinks I have no reason to be embarrassed, that he's done nothing wrong, and it's crazy of me to say he doesn't have my back. I feel like he just wanted laughs and attention, and he didn't care at all that it came at my expense. One big reason why I feel like he doesn't have my back: he decided to knowingly break the law because, again, he thought he knew better, and got arrested and spent 7 months in prison, leaving me holding a huge bag of shit and needing to do everything on my own during that time, including pay all our bills. He's been out for about a year. During that time I bought us a house. By myself. For 12 years he didn't have his license, so I did all our driving. If I got a flat or something, I had to call my parents. My parents had my back while he was gone, too. So if this is just leftover resentment from all that, or if I actually do have a legit reason to feel hurt/betrayed. I just feel like after every sacrifice I've made for us entitles me to what I would consider to be adequate treatment from him. Am I overthinking this? What do you guys think? Lay down your ruling in the comments section and let's move on to our next story. Case 2. Am I the bad person for telling my brother it's his own fault? So, I, 27M, have a younger brother, Jonas, 24M, who has never really faced consequences for his actions. Our parents always bailed him out, no matter what he did. Now, years later, it's catching up to him, and I might not have reacted very sympathetically. Jonas has a girlfriend, Lisa, 23F, who he's been with for 3 years. She's a great person, smart, kind, but also someone who doesn't take crap from anyone. I always liked her and thought they were a good match, until a few weeks ago. I had noticed before that Jonas wasn't always completely honest. He had a habit of twisting the truth to make himself look better, and sometimes he straight up lied. Nothing extreme, but little things, calling in sick to work when he just wanted a lazy day, exaggerating stories to make himself the hero, or blaming others when he messed up. Then, 2 weeks ago, Lisa called me. She was clearly upset and asked me if I knew anything about Jonas borrowing money from people. I was confused because, as far as I knew, Jonas wasn't struggling financially. She told me he had asked her for 500 euros, saying he needed it for car repairs. That wasn't unusual, his car was old, but then she found out he had asked one of their mutual friends for money for the same reason. Lisa confronted him, and he got defensive, then admitted he had been gambling online. He had lost way more money than he could afford and was desperate to cover it up. She was furious, not just because of the money, but because he had lied to her repeatedly. When I saw Jonas a few days later, he was miserable. Lisa had broken up with him, and some of his friends had cut him off. He complained to me about how unfair it was, how Lisa overreacted, and how everyone was abandoning him over one mistake. That's when I lost my patience. I told him it wasn't just one mistake. It was years of lying, blaming others, and never taking responsibility. I said Lisa should leave him because she deserves better, and if his friends don't trust him anymore, that's his fault, not theirs. Jonas got really quiet and then just walked away. Later, my mom called me, furious. She said Jonas was devastated and that I should have been supportive instead of kicking him while he's down. She thinks I should apologize, but I don't see why. What do you guys think of this one? Let us know in the comments section and let's move on to our next story. Case 3. Am I the bad person for not giving my dad a copy of my mom's death certificate? I'm a 38-year-old female and the youngest for my mom, my dad 69 and my mom 64. So I'm going to rewind back to when my parents were together. They were married by court and by Catholic Church for about 20 years, and throughout the marriage they constantly argued and my dad cheated a lot. They split when I was 15 and the divorce was settled on my 18th birthday. After everything was done, my siblings and I, learned my dad had a mistress during the last 5 years of their marriage, who we will call Mistress. The year they split up, my mom caught my dad with his mistress outside of his workplace. My mom was pissed and heartbroken. She kicked out my dad and he went to live with his sister. I believe at that time my mom wanted to work it out with him, but she needed her space. Almost immediately after staying with my aunt, my dad moved in with his mistress and told mom it was BC she needed help. My mom filed for divorce. That same year he got his mistress pregnant with my now half-sister. Throughout the years following he would be in and out of our lives, and occasionally would bring my baby sister around. But there was always a distance. December of 2023 he told us that he wanted to marry his mistress by church and needed my mom to give him a copy of the divorce papers or sign a declaration of nullity document, which my mom refused to do both. She wasn't happy about it, and I know it bothered her until the day she died. I believe everything that happened with my dad had a partial toll on her health. She couldn't fully move on. Especially BC, he stood with the same woman that she said took everything away from me. She struggled with type 1 diabetes for almost all of her life and had her leg amputated in November 2024 BC of an infection she caught. Since then her health declined. She came home January 11th with at-home hospice care and passed away January 15th of this year. We had her wake/funeral on January 26th. Now to the issue with my dad. He asked the day of the funeral for a copy of my mom's death certificate, and every week after kept asking for it. Seems like he was more concerned with obtaining the certificate after my mom's funeral than asking if we were okay or if we needed anything. He called me asking again about it, and I just told him straight up that he's asking too soon for it and that it hasn't even been a month. We argued and he kept saying how he needed it for his records, and I told him we are not stupid and we know it's BC, he needs it to get married by church. He also told me that it isn't fair to him that we are refusing to give him the copy. My brother ended calling him and they argued, and it pretty much ended with my dad telling my brother for us to have a good life. So no, I feel like I lost two parents over something that could have waited a few months if he had just given us time. And don't get me wrong, I am okay with my dad getting remarried, even if it's to his mistress. I love my dad. I wanted to keep a relationship with him for the sake of my kids and myself. But the fact he's kind of overlooking that we need his support right now, it's hurting. I feel bad, but also very angry at him. So AITA for not giving him the copy? Can't wrap my head around that story. What do you think? Who is in the wrong there? Let us know down in the comments section, and let's move on to our last case. Case 4. Am I the bad person for not giving my dad's widow/affair partner any of his estate and evicting her and my half-siblings from my childhood home? 5 years ago, my 25F parents were still together when my father was caught having an affair with Jenna. Jenna confronted my mother and let her know that she was pregnant. My mother was devastated and chose to commit suicide. I was devastated, and I think that in some way my father was too. While I mostly blame him, the words Jenna said to my mother were cruel, and I believe the main cause of her death. My father wanted to leave Jenna, but because she was pregnant married her instead. My culture is not kind to women who are unmarried with children. They went on to have a second child together. I hadn't spoken to my father these last 5 years, despite his many attempts. A large part of me has hated them both too much. My father died recently in a car accident on the way home from work. I found out that he hadn't updated his will and estate. Everything was left to me, as well as his life insurance. Jenna tried to fight me in the courts, but my lawyer brought up that she had an affair with my father who was married. The judge ruled with me and shamed Jenna. Adultery is not taken kindly here. This is why the judge gave her nothing. I had Jenna and her 2 children evicted from my childhood home. Jenna and her family have been raging at me. My father was a very wealthy man, and Jenna worked as a receptionist when they met. She now has no money to her name and lives with her mother. She thinks I did wrong by her and my half-siblings. I do not consider them my family, and I hate them because they will always be her children. Am I the bad person? Everyone I know is so divided. You've sat down, you've listened. Now, it's time to state your ruling. What is it gonna be? Let us have it down in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more cases like these. In life, we may run, but we can never hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.